Bosch Communication Systems, a business unit of Bosch Security Systems, is now one of the world's leading manufacturers and suppliers of professional audio, wireless, life safety, and communication equipment. Bosch Communication Systems offers complete system solutions for the world's most critical high-profile installations and events. Together, the future sounds secure.
Stewart Film Screen announces contemporary cabaret screens for multimedia installations. With features that are installer-friendly, including choice of motors and easy setup adjustments from the screen's housing front. Stewart Film Screen is also introducing Ambient Shade, a window treatment product that controls sunlight in commercial and residential applications.
Welcome back to Sound and Communications Viewpoint. I'm Ernie Bailey. Along with me is Steve Rynbrandt, and we're discussing the education market as far as system integration and AV classroom design goes, and how to really meet that in the higher education market. Steve, we talked earlier, or you mentioned earlier, about getting all the original documentation, the drawings, and you've mentioned the source code from the previous integrator. I know I've in the past had trouble getting that information, especially the source code from integrators. So I guess my big question is, who owns the source code?
Not being an attorney, I'm not sure that I can actually answer who owns it. But yeah, it's a big issue of contention. One of our preferred ways of doing that is, and personally, I'm a believer that the client should have the source code, at least access to that source code for their use for the systems that have been contracted for. And it goes into software licensing, which is another big issue for universities and other clients alike. I think one of the better ways to handle that is that system integrators can license their clients and the universities to utilize the source code for those applications that they have in place. Okay. For the rooms that they've been contracted for. And then at that point, service doesn't become quite an issue. You can have somebody else come in and do service for you.
Right. Okay. But we turn the tables. Say you did the previous job for me, and for some reason another AV contractor has the business for the next job. Do you have a problem with them looking at your source code?
Well, I think you do. I mean, and there's intellectual property issues there.
Exactly.
And it's definitely one of those things that gets negotiated. Unfortunately, there just really isn't a good answer for it.
The best answer that we found that seems to work is that we ask that the user interface be the same.
Sure.
Or as close to the same as possible.
Sure.
I've even had integrators come in and take pictures of screens so they can try to give as close a look as possible without interfering with the.
And that's a great method for reproducing what somebody already has, at least as far as behavior is concerned, that works really well. There are other aspects that universities themselves can employ with their systems integrators to make sure that they have uniform user interfaces across their campus. And that is to follow the industry standards, like the Infocom dashboard. Which I think is a great program. One of the things that universities encompass is a wide, diverse range of people that are going to be using that room.
Exactly. And that's where Dashboard was developed, so that people can go from room to room. Greg Bronson from Cornell University started Dashboard, and his thinking was he had rented a car. I was with him right after he came up with the idea. He rented a car at a meeting we were attending together, and he realized he didn't have to get out the service manual before he drove to the meeting after he left the airport. And that's where Dashboard came from.
Right.
And a user should have the same feeling when they walk into a room. They know, what a volume control looks like. They can find it quickly.
Right.
And we specify, for major functions, no more than 2 touches on the touch screen gets the image to the screen.
Sure, and with that, I think that alleviates a lot of those source code issues.
Yes.
More importantly is the as-built drawings and stuff like that,
Right.
if you're going to deal with an existing installation. New installations, it doesn't become an issue. But if you've already been following a standard, which is practically an industry standard, then that makes the new rooms, no matter who is your systems integrator, usable from day one without
Exactly.
any training.
Exactly. I don't want to have a trainer in the room at the beginning of the new semester just because we've added 3 rooms.
Sure.
When I've had faculty members who have been using my other rooms, I want them to know exactly what they're walking into and be able to do it.
Yeah, I also think that the university should try and follow, or establish a standard, graphical look and design and look and feel, using things that aren't necessarily protected graphical assets. Things like university logos.
Yeah.
We can use those. Any systems integrator can use those under license from the university. So if you don't encompass, copyrighted material or specific material in your user interfaces, then that becomes less of an issue as well.
Steve, well, thank you. We are about out of time. We'd like to thank you for watching Sound and Communications Viewpoint. I'm Ernie Bailey. This is Steve Rynbrandt, and join us again in 2 weeks for the next episode.